Zach is big on oaths, so we need to do this before we head out. I want to direct your attention to the warning sign. Underneath it is an oath that Zach requires us to say. And have you guys raise your right hand and repeat after me. This building is known to contain ghost spirits and cursed objects.
This building is known to contain ghost spirits and cursed objects.
And by entering, you agree to that management. And not be liable for any actions by these unseen forces. All right, just make sure your phones are off. No video, no photography, food or drink in the museum. Please do not lean on or touch any of the artifacts or sit on any of the antique furniture in the museum. And follow me right this way, everybody. Watching fire.
Thank you. This is a good number. Last time it was 12 or 13. Yeah.
All right. Excuse me, I'll make my way to the front. All right, everyone. Welcome to Zach's oddity room. You're going to see the odd, the macabre, and the very haunted. Now, not everything in this museum is haunted, but it is curious and pretty fascinating to see the things that Zach has collected. Now, by chance, does anyone in this group happen to have a $1 bill?
I do not.
Sure. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, whoever I see first. Whoop, whoop. Come here. Put it right there in the Zach jar machine. Zach's going to tell you a little something about the museum, give you a little souvenir.
Welcome to the Haunted Museum. This 1938 historic mansion has seen death, and at one time in the past has even been the site for dark rituals, resulting in the previous owners to experience high levels of malevolent hauntings. Through some mysterious psychic power, this house called upon me to be the new owner, where I have given a residence for all the spirits that follow me from my never-ending journeys investigating the occult and paranormal. Think of it as a hostel for the afterlife. It is also a place that showcases my collection of curiosities and mystical artifacts that were so strongly attached to the living that they still claim ownership of them in death. What makes my museum different from any other is that you will face certain decisions, testing your own spiritual courage, so take the card below for some advice you will need on your upcoming journey through the Haunted Museum.
Tear that off. That's a souvenir for you. Oh no, that didn't sound good. Let me get you one from in here. Give you Dr. Jack Kevorkian's death van card. You'll see Kevorkian's van a couple of rooms down here in a little bit. All right?
All right.
Now, if you guys are Ghost Adventure fans, you probably already know about the collaboration with Eli Roth. that Zach has done to create a show called The Haunted Museum. It's where they talk about the backstories of the artifacts. Season 1, Episode 1 is about that dollhouse over there in the corner. That is a model of the Westerfeld House in San Francisco. You can visit that home, and Ghost Adventures has done an investigation in that home as well. The home that you're in right now was built in 1938 for the Wenger family. This was their living room when they lived here. They had 5 children. Their 7-year-old James died before they had a chance to move into this house. So when they moved into this house, they believed that James' spirit followed them, and that was the start of the paranormal activity. Cyril Wenger, the father, he was one of the founding fathers of Nevada Energy, which happens to be the electric company here in town. Over here, the case with the red light and the chalices, those are items that belong to Anton LaVey. Anton LaVey was the founder of the Church of Satan. Those chalices belonged to Anton LaVey, and he used them while performing satanic rituals. The document right above it is signed by Anton LaVey, appointing a witch into his Church of Satan. Now, these 2 dolls in this square glass case have been here 7 months. They are called the human dolls. They're from the 1800s. A little girl, Emily, 6 years old, had a little brother, Adam, a year and a half old. The mother was busy cooking a huge family dinner for a get-together she was having, and she didn't have time to take her children for a walk. So Emily, being the big sister, she decides she's going to take her little brother for a walk. Puts him in a stroller. They're walking around outside. There is a lake by their home. During the walk, Emily decides she needs to go back to the house. She's in her bedroom. It is pouring down rain at this time, and Emily thinks, oh my gosh, my brother. She climbs out of her bedroom window, goes and finds her little brother sinking in the mud by the lake. She tries to pull him out of the mud. They both wind up in the lake, and they both drown. The mother believes the spirit of her children reside in these 2 dolls, because after she lost her children, strange things and activity were happening around these 2 dolls. They were handed down through the generations. Other family members would report strange things and activity as well. Now, I've been here 7 years, and I can tell you, since these 2 dolls have been here in the museum, more people are leaving the front part of the museum than normal, being affected and also losing consciousness. Now, if any of you watched Ghost Adventure Quarantine episodes, there is a 4-part series. The first one has 4 dolls in it. 2 of these dolls are in what Zach calls his paranormal quarantine. It is his doll closet. Gretchen and Cynthia are in that room. Gretchen is from the 1920s. She's been compared to Robert, the doll. Robert is a haunted doll that resides in Key West, Florida, in a museum there. Gretchen's previous owner said that she would knock pictures off the wall. They would hear a child crying from whatever room that she was in. They were a childless couple. They would go to open up the door, and the crying would stop. Now, when Gretchen arrived here, there was painting hanging up on the wall in this room. It was hung professionally and hung there for almost 2 years. No issues, no problems with it at all. But when Gretchen arrived, an hour and a half later, it fell off the wall. Coincidence? I personally don't think so. I think Gretchen was making herself at home. Zach had a photographer in his doll closet recently, was doing inventory, heard a little girl say, "Stop it." And one of the dolls fell off the shelf. Now, my 4 RIPs, you guys get to go into Zach's doll closet. We ask that you please not touch anything. And when you enter that room, straight ahead in the cabinet, the doll with the blonde hair that looks like a real little girl looking at you, that's Gretchen. You're going to walk through Zach's seance room. And to the left, when you walk by this bell, it's a huge bell. Ring that bell and try to conquer the demon spirit. So my 4 RIPs, come on up here. And you guys are going to go this way, and then we're going to meet you in front of the next exhibit. And what?
I have permission to look at all this.
Yeah, you can look at that.
Yes.
And then we're going to meet him in front of the next room.
Extremely, wow. How scary.
Yeah, while they're walking through, absolutely. You can like, they're going to go in this room and have a seat.
Okay. So you've been doing this for 7 years?
Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
And then you can go in here and have a seat.
Okay.
Yeah.
What the seat?
Well, and this is the next room. It's an exorcism room.
Really? Okay. I am all alone in here. It's very scary. Oh my God.
Welcome, guests, to the exorcism of Annalise McKell. I ask that everyone keep a high level of positive thought for protection while in this particular room. All of you signed a waiver for being in close proximity to items that carry with them documented events that include dark paranormal activity and severe attachments on other living persons. This is one such item with a very evil past. In 1975, Annalise McKell, a college student in Germany who is studying to become a teacher, began to suffer violent seizures and vivid hallucinations of demons coming to claim her soul. Being convinced her visions were demonic possession, 2 priests conducted 67 Catholic exorcism rites on her. While under a state of possession, McKell would bark and growl like a dog, eat spiders and coal, bit the head off of a live bird, and would lick her own urine off the floor. Her demonic possession would serve as the inspiration for the Hollywood films The Exorcism of Emily Rose. The demons possessing McKell identified themselves as Cain, Nero, Judas, Hitler, and Lucifer. Speaking through Annalise, Lucifer stated, "I want to conquer the earth for myself. I am filling up my kingdom. I take whatever I can take." Another demon, Nero, screams, "I am damned for eternity, you careless people. I will not come out of this girl." Annalise McKell died at age 23, weighing only 68 pounds. 2 years after her death, a German court found her parents and both priests guilty of negligent manslaughter for rejecting any form of medical care during her brutal exorcisms that took place for half a year. The sick call box in the wooden case before you was used during Annalise McKell's exorcism and has the name McKell carved into the back. I acquired the box from renowned filmmaker Christopher St. Booth. He stated it came directly from the niece of a priest now living in New Orleans who personally removed the box from the McKell family home. The Booth brothers made a documentary about their experiences with the exorcism box called The Attached. Christopher St. Booth then wanted to part ways with the box because after he obtained it, he told me about an event that was truly disturbing. He told me that while in possession of the box, something began growing inside of him. And after visiting the doctor, they determined this growth contained teeth and stem cells. He then had an archbishop exorcise the box, at which time he witnessed a dark figure dart by and realized it was Annalise McKell walking with very thin, frail arms. This experience was the most terrifying moment in his life, he described. The archbishop stated she was shaking uncontrollably as an energy was pushing her away from the box. All that she could see was that poor girl's face. As you all now rise from your seats, you will hear the actual audio recordings of Annalise McKell's exorcism. And I warn you, it is disturbing. now decide if you would like to crawl through the tunnel to the left of the exorcism box, where we have channeled and concentrated the energy within this room.
All right, my four RIPs, are you going to do it? Huh?
Gonna do it?
Sure.
All right, so whoever's first, go ahead, follow that leader, and then you're going to follow me down the hallway. Right this way. And you're going to go right into this room. All right, everyone, welcome to the Bunny Ranch. I'm going to close this door and video. Sorry.
On October 16th, 2018, famed Bunny Ranch brothel owner Dennis Hoff was found dead on this bed inside his Love Ranch bordello after a night of sex and partying to celebrate his birthday. Over 25 years, Hoff dominated the market on legal prostitution in Nevada and was the star of HBO's long-running hit series, Cat House. This bed, the furniture, and the two mirrors above the nightstands occupied the master bedroom in the brothel's VIP suite, a site of many mysterious and dark events. Now here's where things started to get very creepy. Dennis Hoff had been warned to get rid of this bed, as it had long been believed by Hoff's employees and guests to be cursed by something very evil. Almost 3 years to the day prior to Hoff's death in this bed, NBA basketball player and reality television's Keeping Up with the Kardashians star Lamar Odom nearly fatally overdosed on this same bed, having suffered several heart attacks and a series of strokes in the process. Things got even more strange when Lamar went on The View and claimed that Dennis Hoff had tried to kill him while he was in this bed, and that he had never done any drugs at the brothel.
Dennis Hoff, I don't know what he had against me, but I didn't do drugs that night, to be honest with you. Right. So I don't know if he tried to poison me or...
You think he poisoned?
He tried to kill me. My lawyer has workers at the brothel that said he tried.
The two sex workers that Odom hired stated that they found it very odd that Lamar wanted to be alone so much in the room despite paying $75,000 for their services. Was something else lurking in the room with Lamar? Over the next several years, many refused to sleep on the bed for fear of its sinister power. Stories began to circulate about very dark hauntings at Hoff's brothel. I want everybody to take a look at the picture hanging on the wall to your left. There is what appears to be a demonic figure visible behind Dennis Hoff at the same place where this cursed deathbed was. One of Dennis's sex workers sent this photo to me in a desperate plea for me to come to the building and investigate. She stated that Dennis didn't want anyone to see the photo or to admit that that was the cause for the negative energy. Very strange. Madame Suzette Cole, the brothel's general manager who inherited the property after Dennis's death, contacted me personally to have the cursed bed, mirrors, and some other furniture pieces you see before you removed immediately. Now lastly, if you look closely at the bed, there are 2 large stains on the mattress. We can only assume that they tell the stories of these tragic and very dark events. And on the right side of the bed, you will see Dennis Hoff's robe that Madame Suzette discovered on the bed at the time of his death. Is something evil attached to this bed? And if so, will it appear in one of the bedroom's original mirrors in front of you, as it was claimed to have done in the photo to your left? There is also another eerie connection to death in this room. The historic home's former owner, Lottie Wenger, died in this very room, also in her own bed in 1968.
All right. The TV's going to lower so you guys can get a better look at the bed. And if you excuse me, I'm actually going to do one more for RIPs. Zach is allowing RIPs to come alongside the bed, and he said let them touch it if they want to. You have any questions about the room or the story?
That's the mirror that the figure was in?
No, that mirror is at the brothel, but that figure, a figure like that has been seen in this mirror during our flashlight ghost tour. Where you get to investigate Zach's museum. A lady was investigating in this room, and she saw a figure that looked like that in this, right over here. And she left the tour, and she said she refused to come back into this house ever again. All right. You guys ready to go to Dr. Jack Kevorkian's room? Yeah? All right. The card you got in the beginning, too. Right there. That's what I like.
Welcome to the office of Dr. Jack Kevorkian.
Kevorkian.
Before we tell you more about Dr. Death and what you are about to see, it is important to inform you all that this room and the next one through the door to your left has been the site of countless females being severely affected by a frequently seen shadow figure that causes them to faint and become extremely emotional. The following video is such a case where 2 friends got simultaneously affected without warning in this room. You will notice as the one female approaches the tour guide to tell her she doesn't feel right, her friend blacks out and hits the floor very hard. And strangely, the other female has zero reaction to it and just puts her head down on the desk. When her friend regains consciousness, she claimed she saw the entity hovering near the ceiling by the door you came in, which causes her to scream frantically. Then her and her friend physically run out of the museum and were never heard from again.
Okay? You're okay.
everyone, and welcome to the office of Dr. Jack Kevorkian, also known as Dr. Death. During his lifetime, he was at the center of much controversy as he proclaimed to help terminally ill patients end their lives with assisted suicide, many of those deaths occurring in his Volkswagen van. During the filming of my TV series Deadly Possessions on the Travel Channel, I interviewed his famed attorney Jeffrey Feiger, who told me they thought that they had the van destroyed at a scrapyard.
So we took it to this junkyard. We had it crushed into a metal ball. It was always my belief that that van had been destroyed as a result of us paying the guy.
But you never saw it destroyed.
I never did, and neither did Kevorkian.
Well, Jeffrey Feiger thought wrong, because I acquired the death van, and it's here at the Haunted Museum.
Identical to dents and creases in the van, and I don't think anybody could have contemplated that. This is impossible to do. In history, that van will be valuable not because of its macabre, but because it's so important in terms of medical advancement of assisted suicide. That van will be considered important. In fact, that van, you'll find that the Smithsonian would want that van.
130, that's the number that there is to the public.
There were a lot more, well over 200. He was doing them in the van.
I now ask that one of you open the door to your left and get ready to experience an object that contains the energy of spirits of over 100.
Is this okay?
Yeah.
All right, okay, so I go now?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. That is good.
Oh, man.
The music that you're hearing right now was composed and performed by Dr. Kevorkian himself. If his patient so chose, he would play this soundtrack and these would be the final sounds that they would hear before they passed away. Inside the van on either side of the patient, you will see replicas of Dr. Kevorkian's Mercitron and Thanatron suicide machines. Both devices were activated by a button that Kevorkian would give the patient so that they themselves could make the final determination of when they were ready to pass away. Kevorkian spent 8 years in a Michigan prison for assisting suicides. It was scheduled to be a much longer prison sentence, but he was released early for a combination of good behavior as well as his own declining health. In fact, just 4 years after Kevorkian was released from prison, he himself died. On the wall by the door, you will see the original title to the van signed by Jack Kevorkian, verifying its authenticity. Just like in the video you just saw in the last room, this room has also been the site of countless females passing out for no explainable reason. During the Ghost Adventures investigation, my crew and I made contact with one of the spirits attached to this van. He identified himself to us as one of Jack's most controversial patients, Hugh Gale. His death was controversial because there arose a question as to whether Hugh Gale may have changed his mind in the last seconds of consciousness before he died of carbon monoxide from the similar canister you see hooked up to the mannequin. Using multiple ITC communication devices, this spirit, who we believe to be Gale, told us he was a, quote, quite in pain old person here, end quote, and that he enjoyed making females pass out. As you exit through the door and proceed across the hall, I invite you to join me behind bars as we get an idea of what it was like for Dr. Kevorkian during those 8 years of incarceration.
Maybe 2 trick me with this.
Feel free to go past those jail bars, look around that far back room. Also, there is a water cooler in this room. If you guys want to drink the water in this room only, help yourself. And
As you step behind prison walls, be aware that every item in my haunted museum's true crime exhibit, including the jail bars, has come directly from a prison or a prisoner. On the wall near the door, you will see the brain scans of Henry Lee Lucas, also known as the Confession Killer. Richard Ramirez, known as the Night Stalker and a known devil worshipper, was convicted of 13 murders, taking place between June 1984 and August of 1985. He terrorized California with a series of murders, rapes, and burglaries, often entering homes at night through unlocked windows. He was sentenced to death and died of natural causes at age 53 while on California's death row. In the first display case near the door you came through, on the middle shelf, you will see the black box that contained the ashes of Richard Ramirez. And it still does have some of his ash residue inside it. Richard's widow, Doreen, gave me the box and included that handwritten note detailing the frightening paranormal activity that she experienced while in possession of that box and the metal tag that was attached to Ramirez's body while being cremated. The display case centered on the wall focuses on convicted serial killer John Wayne Gacy, also known as the Killer Clown. Throughout the 1970s, Gacy raped and murdered 33 young men and buried them in a crawl space underneath his suburban Chicago home. He was known as Pogo the Clown and Patches the Clown because he was a member of the Shriners Charity Organization, and he would often dress as Pogo and Patches and entertain at community events. Once apprehended and awaiting execution on Illinois' death row, he became a prolific painter and would often paint himself in his clown makeup, just as he has done in the original portraits that you see on display. You will also see a photo of me holding a slice of John Wayne Gacy's brain in my hands with his former psychologist. The second shelf contains items that I personally received from John Wayne Gacy's stepdaughter, Tammy, who personally met with me right here at the Haunted Museum. Tammy lived inside his notorious Illinois house during all of the killings, and yet she had no clue what was happening. If you look to the right, those are original family Polaroids taken with Gacy. You will notice that Tammy is in the purple, and she's pictured with her mother and sister. One of those photos was taken just 3 days before Gacy was executed. The cigarettes you see were Gacy's last pack that he also gave Tammy before he was killed. The waterfall painting and the Seven Dwarfs painting were also made for Tammy by her stepfather. You will also see several original cards and photos that Gacy sent to Tammy with the inscription, "Love Dad." Now it's very creepy to see one of the most evil men that has ever walked the face of this earth being a lovable family man. You can see that he even wrote "Stay Positive" on one of the cards. Across the room from Gacy's paintings, you will see Ted Bundy's actual murder kit that was discovered in Bundy's Volkswagen when he was pulled over by Utah Highway Patrol in 1975. I obtained this murder kit directly from the wife of her deceased husband, Jerry Thompson, who was the lead detective in Salt Lake City, Utah. Bundy was arrested, and that gym bag containing the ski mask, gloves, ice pick, ropes, and other items that you see displayed was seized as evidence. Bundy was later convicted as one of America's most prolific serial killers and was eventually executed in Florida's electric chair. As you look at Bundy's ski mask, just imagine his evil eyes looking back at you through those holes as he did with his victims. During an investigation on Ghost Adventures, we captured right here a crystal clear voice saying, "I'm serial," referencing a serial killer. Many claim it was the voice of Ted Bundy. I was then briefly channeled through and spoke the words, "Hey buddy," something I later learned Bundy would say to all the courtroom and prison staff. To the right of the murder kit, you will see the disguise glasses worn by Ted Bundy when he attempted to abduct Leslie Parmenter on February 8, 1978. And likely the next day when he abducted and murdered his youngest victim, 12-year-old Kimberly Leach. Above the glasses are actual hair samples of evidence from his victims found in Bundy's Volkswagen Beetle with the murder kit. Behind the jail cell bars, you will see an area of the exhibit that largely focuses on Charles Manson, the notorious leader of the helter-skelter murder cult. Inside the cases, you will see a number of personal effects from his prison cell, including his television set that is linked with a curse, his reading glasses, his dentures that were stolen by a fellow inmate, as well as the actual hospital gown that Charles Manson died in, where you can still see bodily fluids and blood. Inside the case to the right are the cremains of Charles Manson, including his actual bone fragments, making my haunted museum the final resting place of Charles Manson himself. I have captured paranormal activity emanating from those remains, shown on the video monitor. On one terrifying occasion not too long ago, a guest spoke to Manson's bone fragments. She then felt something come up from behind her, feeling stabbing sensations in her stomach. She had to leave the museum immediately. Please feel free to look around the exhibit and wait here for a few moments until a tour guide comes to get you.
Are you guys ready to go to Ed Gein barn? I'm going to have you guys come out in the hallway and turn to the left. Right in here. Get to this little white cabinet right here. Show a video for you.
In the 1950s, Plainfield, Wisconsin had a troubled loner who became the real-life inspiration for the horror film Psycho, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Silence of the Lambs. His name was Ed Gein. Gein's mother was one of his few points of human contact, and when she died, that was not something he was prepared to handle. He began taking his shovel, the actual one you see mounted up above your heads in the rafters of this barn, and digging up the graves of freshly buried females in the local cemetery. He would bring their bodies back to his barn, skin them, tan that skin, and make a variety of items out of it. Everything from lampshades to wearable accessories. He even made a woman's skin suit that he would wear to feel closer to his dead mother. As a point of reference, I recently obtained the real piece of leathered human skin that you see framed on the wall from a man who died within the past few years. You can even see his nipple. Ed Gein didn't stop with grave robbing because in 1957 a couple of local women in Plainfield went missing. The cops went searching for them, and when they walked into Ed Gein's barn, they made a horrific discovery. They found one of the women hanging upside down above the very cauldron that you see under glass in the center of this room, with her head cut off and all of her blood and internal organs drained into that cauldron. The sight sickened them, so they called a neighbor named Hollis Brown to come cut the bodies down. Hollis Brown's son named Carneth has been here to my haunted museum. He is pictured on the wall by the door with the shovel and cauldron that I purchased at an auction in Wisconsin that made the local news, as seen on the TV. The shovel and cauldron were also sold at auction in 1958 at Ed Gein's farmhouse property after his arrest to a Plainfield woman who planted flowers in it to serve as a memorial to the victims. It stayed there for a number of decades until her grandson, Dan McIntyre, who wrote the multi-page notarized letter that you see framed on the wall verifying the transactions that I'm sharing with you now, wanted the cauldron removed off of her property. But the cauldron was very heavy, so he needed help. Within short order, every one of his friends and family members that helped move that cauldron died under mysterious circumstances or from unexpected illnesses. I interviewed Dan about this, and he began to cry uncontrollably while telling me this all on camera during my show Deadly Possessions. Ed Gein was never convicted of murder because he was declared mentally insane, so he had to live out the rest of his life in a mental institution. On the wall by the door, you will see the last known original photograph of Ed Gein, taken inside that state hospital around Christmas time before he died in 1984, along with the original identification badge belonging to the guard who took that photo. A satanic witch from England named Lady Snake came here and used this cauldron to try and summon the spirit of Ed Gein, and in doing so led to a very disturbing altercation between her and another psychic medium that nearly became physical right here in this room. Lady Snake was overcome by a malevolent spirit and wanted to hit the psychic over the head with the shovel and put her body inside the cauldron. Many guests who visit this room have had nightmares of the flesh being torn from their bodies. As we depart rural Wisconsin, please turn right and proceed down the hallway.
Alright, we're actually going to gather around the basement stairs right here.
On November 10, 2019, adult film actress Jenna Jameson contacted me with a horrifying story. She stated that in 1971, before she was born, her parents and her brother were living here in this house during a time when satanic practices were occurring with their father, just down these stairs in the basement. Taken directly from her text messages, this is what she stated. My brother talks of rituals and a boy dying. Seriously, it's deep and sinister. After my father lived there for over a year, he went a bit mad and ran. Yes, my brother says people died, children and women. My brother specifically remembers hooded people chanting in a circle in the basement and a screaming boy. He saw this with his own eyes. He believes the house is pulling us back. I'm really scared. Zach, it's really dark. Please be careful now. Jenna's brother then followed with, never did I think investigating our past would lead here. They killed people, Ren. Everyone should stay away from 6th and Charleston. My parents never should have gone there. Zach Bagans should have never bought that house. There is a satanic underworld that may not want this truth told. The basement is a place of unspeakable horror. Finally, Jenna Jameson told me my brother thinks whatever is in the basement wants him and me back. A copy of Jenna's brother's birth certificate sits on top of this TV, containing the old Haunted Museum's 6th Street address, confirming that yes, her brother and parents did live here in 1971. After I tried getting more details about the rituals and the spoken murders, both Jenna and her brother went completely silent, and I haven't heard from them since.
All right, my RIPs, you get to go to the epicenter of the energy here in the museum. You get to go into the basement. We ask that you please do not touch anything. You're going to go down the hallway, enter a ritual room, walk around the ritual room. You always find the things, right? Like, hate that, because you sit there and go, in front of everybody. They're like, what's wrong with her? But you're going to enter a ritual room, walk around the ritual room, and then please head right back upstairs. I will not be going with you. This is your RIP experience. Staff wants you to experience this on your own. Now you will see ritual items that have been used in the basement, real human remains. There is a live spirit box in the ritual room as well. So just circle that room and head right back upstairs. And I'm going to tell you about a couple of things over here on this side. If you watch Ghost Adventures, there is an episode called Sin City Exorcism, where Zach helps out with an exorcism here in Las Vegas. The mother, she was possessed by demons, and before she died, she told her son they were coming for him next. Her ashes are on the very top shelf. That is Zach's personal rosary on top of the ashes, and the young man is allowed to visit his mother's ashes whenever he wants to. Now, the Manson murders, after Sharon Tate and her friends were brutally murdered by the Manson family, the next victims were Rosemary and Leno LaBianca. That chandelier is from the LaBianca home. Zach owned that home, but he recently sold it. And that chandelier was hanging up with an eye shot of the murders. A lot of dark and negative energy most definitely attached to that. Yeah.
I love it.
I don't hear screaming, so we're good so far, huh?
Do you like doing the smaller groups or the bigger ones?
Well, I do whatever because we're kind of slower day today. So the most we're allowed in a group is 13. So.
What is the significance of
Hey friends, like I said, take a moment, look around the exhibit here, and when you guys are ready,
Nothing. Just a day for the museum to be closed. We used to be open 7 days a week, but Zach decided to have Tuesday, and then that way, if anything needs to be fixed, because he's actually building on a 4-room exhibit right now, so that gives the construction and then time to do maintenance and stuff.
Is he in Vegas a lot or always?
Yeah.
I think it's Wordsworth's.
He lives here. Yeah,
he still has the same crew of people.
He's very hands-on with the museum. When he's not filming, usually he'll stop by every single day.
Oh, beautiful.
That's not creepy at all, right? And now I get to take you to my favorite room in the museum. Follow me down the hall. Follow me down the hall. Yeah. Everyone, as I said, this is my favorite room in the museum. Welcome to Al Capone's room, also known as Scarface. He was one of the most notorious gangsters ever. Recently, his granddaughter decided that she was going to auction off some of her grandfather's possessions. One of them is this beautiful dresser and mirror over here on this side of the room. That was in his bedroom where he died of cardiac arrest in Palm Island, Florida, January 25th, 1947. And then to the left, we have a very famous photo of Al Capone and his son. Al Capone actually gifted that photo to his son after his son's brain surgery. And on the back of that photo, Al Capone wrote, "To my dear son, Albert, from your dear dad, Al." That is the actual original photo. And then right below it, we have 3 certificates of authenticity from the auction house signed by Al Capone's granddaughter. One of them is for the dresser and the mirror. Second one is for the photo. Third one is for the buried rug that you're standing on. Zach wasn't going to allow anyone to ever walk on this rug, but he decided that he wanted you guys to have the experience of walking on something that Al Capone walked on. Let's just say Zach wanted you guys to have the full experience. Now the granddaughter also said that right over here where the light is shining in the corner of this rug are cigar ash burns in the rug from her grandfather. And then last but not least, over here is a brick from the St. Valentine's Day Massacre that happened February 14, 1929 in Chicago, where 7 of Al Capone's rival gang members were shot to death. Supposedly, Al Capone was the mastermind behind that. It was very well orchestrated. Now, the reason why Zach thought that these items were a really good fit for the museum is because after the St. Valentine's Day massacre, Al Capone was haunted by one of his victims up until the day he died. The victim's name was Jimmy Clark. Al Capone even hired a medium to try to get rid of that attachment. If you guys want to rotate around so you can see everything over here, and you can see everything over here.
These books are the original from his.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Just the items that I pointed out. This is the exact study. Study area where he would like conduct the interviews and such. And now I get to tell you guys a little something about the Winchester Mystery House. Has anything captured your attention in this hallway? We'll need to check it out and then follow me down the hall. Nice little voodoo case there.
What is his teeth?
Yep.
Those are real?
Yep.
What is it from? People?
Deer and horse.
Wow.
Right in here. All right, now the Winchester Mystery House had a wax museum in the 60s and the 70s. They closed it, and these wax heads wound up in a closet next to the kitchen. Tour guides are not allowed to ask about them, talk about them ever. It's a mystery as to why. So we keep the mystery going here because we don't know either. To the front, you're going to see the rare, elusive vampire pigeon in our taxidermy hall. Uh-oh. Now, everything in this room you're going to see at the end of the tour. All right, so follow me right this way.
Hello. I got walls being so.
All right, guys, follow me this way to the sideshow.
Well, welcome everybody to the sideshow. My name is John. I'm going to be your freak. For the next few moments, you guys all ready to have some fun? Yes?
Yes.
All right, now friends, I'm going to first start you off with one of my favorite sideshow stunts. This is a Ryobi power tool with a 6-inch long masonry bit. I'm going to take this drill. It's going to go into the nose, into the skull, rub up against the very back of my throat. Currently, I hold the world record for the longest drill bit to ever be inserted into the human skull intentionally. And more recently, performed this stunt on the Late Late Show with James Corden on CBS. Now, before I stick it in, we're going to lube it up, just like in real life. Woo! There you go, folks. Drilled into the skull. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Alrighty, guys. Now, for the 4 of you that are part of the RIP experience, I have a bonus in here. Put your head into it. For you, my friend, while you're waiting, if you want to get a better look at like Wallace the Lion stuff in the case, things all, feel free, move around, check stuff out. Just don't go too far because we're going to hit this. I don't want to lose you. All the way inside, man. Do you have any questions, my friend, about anything you've seen so far in the house?
May I ask you about your...
Yeah.
When did you figure out you could do this?
About 10 minutes ago.
Come on.
No, I'm joking.
Like, how did you know?
I got into, I first discovered sideshow performers even existed when I was about 10. That was the first time we were at a circus, and there was a sideshow there, and we went to it, and the sword swallower got me up on stage, and he let me pull the sword out of him.
Wow.
And I was like, that's for me.
Really?
Yeah, I was already into like magic and juggling and puppets and stuff like that, and I was like, ooh, sword swallowing is way cooler than puppets, and it is. So that sparked my interest, so I started teaching myself how to do stunts, and by the time I was 17, I joined the circus.
Really?
So during the summertime when I was off from school, summer break, I would go out on the road and perform in the circus.
Is the circus still going?
There are circuses still going here in the United States, not like they used to be.
You don't hear about them.
No, they're not. Some of the best circuses that come through here are all Mexican circuses. Yeah, a lot of the Mexican families still have their circuses, which is great. And so they come through Vegas and stuff, and I always go see them.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from New York.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up in the city.
Wow.
But the circus I joined was called the Clyde Beatty Cole Brothers Circus. They were out of Sarasota, Florida, but they came up the East Coast. So they were basically like a more of an East Coast circus.
Yeah.
So they start in Florida, work their way all the way up, come back out, and then come back down. Yeah, so when I was there, one of the cool things about being in the circus is you make friends with other people who do cool shit too. And so with me, I wanted to just absorb everything I could. So they were like, yeah, if you want to learn, just come. So I started with big cats. That was my first thing I learned. I started wearing first thing you do with big cats is you shovel a lot of poop. That's the first thing you wash cages, shovel poop, feed them. That's it. You don't get to do anything cool. You do a lot of that. And then I eventually I was able to work in the show the cats themselves. I worked elephants, chimps, and I was an alligator wrestler. So yeah, I just did all the things that I thought were cool. I never got on trapezes, high wire, because I don't like heights. They're not for me. I will get on the back of an alligator 100,000 times over before I step one foot on top of that. It's safer. The alligator is safer than the high wire 100% of the time, because I know exactly what the alligator wants. He just wants to bite me.
Yeah.
That's it. So you just have to avoid that. Super simple. The high wire, one slip, boom, and you're gone. Yeah. Alligators are also pretty chill for the most part. They seem like super scary. Crocodiles are way scarier. But alligators, for the most part, they just don't care about much. They really don't. They want to eat and sleep. That's about the extent of what they're into. So when you get on to some of them, like there was some times where if it was a cold day, the alligators just shut down. So like you have to like kind of move them around because they just lay there like I don't give a shit about anything. It's super funny. Their brain is very small. It's about a little bit bigger than like a walnut. Yeah, they have a very primitive brain, so their function is very. But they do have the ability to feel feelings and to be kind to things. Like I would get in. I mean, we had a lot of them and stuff like that. And you could get in and they come up and just sit down next to you and stuff like that because they knew you fed them also. So they can be gentle and they can form bonds with people. I know that sounds weird, but it does happen. There's guys in the wild. There's some great videos I've seen where this guy rescued a crocodile when it was smaller and he saved its life. And the crocodile would come back to where his village was and just to see it for years. And he would get in the water with it. ain't no fucking way I get in the water and drug up. But, because they 100% want to fucking eat your face off. And, but this crocodile just was like, nope, this is my friend. So it's possible they have the ability to do it, but their brain is pretty primitive. They just want to eat, reproduce, sleep, and destroy things. They do like breaking shit. It's pretty funny. They have a weird. They all have weird personalities. They're all individuals, believe it or not. But it's super neat. There's nothing like sitting on top of a dinosaur, because when they swell up and they go to do the death roll, man, there's nothing like that. You got to hold on and wait for it to be over, and hope you come out on top. All right, my friends, I am going to play a video for you guys here on the screen. So if you do want to move up to the wall, you are all very more than welcome. You're going to want to move down so you can see better. There's a lot of real estate right in here. Anybody can stand where you want.
A lifetime of investigating the paranormal, it's taught me that when very bad things happen in the past, that there's always going to be massive repercussions here in the present. Tragedies involving murder and mass death, they release dark forms of energy and they reverberate around the living like psychic echoes or aftershocks. Bigger events, they can lead to much bigger aftershocks. And in my mind, they don't get any bigger than the Hartford Circus fire. On July 6, 1944, a fire started during a matinee performance of the Rainley Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus in what would become one of the deadliest fires in American history. Almost 170 people were killed and 700 injured by that hellish inferno that engulfed the Big Top. Now this is where it gets interesting. A man would later confess to deliberately starting the blaze. And while he was being interrogated, he claimed that a demonic entity with flames coming out of its head told him to start the fire. And years ago, I acquired a costume that was once worn by a famous clown who actually performed on that tragic day. And after placing it in my museum, it was as if the spirit of that clown was telling me to place the costume, an original photo of the Hartford Circus fire, beneath a vintage miniature diorama of a circus, much like the one that was destroyed by that fire in 1944. So that his spirit and all of the victims of that fire could exist within the diorama. And immediately, strange things began to happen. Guests of the museum, they've reported seeing a very large apparition figure roaming around the funhouse with them. And in one case, this guy was walking through the funhouse. He turned and he faced one of my clowns. Something overtook his body, and then he just collapses. Now, all these events, they led me to wonder if a dark energy or echo connected to the clown costume and that photo somehow opened and then powered a portal within the diorama, a portal that entities are now using to enter our world. Now, the following film was inspired by the experiences with these items and explores the powerful and at times terrifying hold that the past still has over the present.
All right, friends, you guys are going to head right up the stairs and into that funhouse. The clown suit he was just talking about will be displayed there, so make sure you guys check it out. Through the door, up the stairs you guys go. You have a wonderful, wonderful day, guys. Yeah. Where are you visiting from?
I'm from Lithuania.
Lithuania? Oh, wow. I haven't had anybody from Lithuania. Okay, got her here. Well, welcome. Enjoy your time here in Vegas.
Hello. You guys are going to go through the fun house. I'm going to meet you on the other end, all right?
super scared. And I'm like, yeah.
Across the hall.
This is, oh my Lord, he's getting very long. How are you? This is a Jewish room. He's a tzitzit, a chauffeur. This is the book room, the book box room.
Taking your room. Hi. Hi, friend. Hi.
You have 5 and 4.
5 and 4.
Yes.
All right. Hey, you're being kidnapped. My name's Alexa.
That's a good person to be kidnapped.
Yeah, I'm your captor. What's up?
She's mean, so be careful.
Yeah, clearly I just kidnapped you. I'm up to no good, as you can tell. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Yeah. Awesome. You're from this Las Vegas.
I was born here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Do you go hiking in the?
I have, but when I was in high school, I used to with my friends a lot, but
Yeah.
it's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good for her.
Yeah. Where are you from?
I'm from Lithuania.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I live in this country now.
Yeah, do you?
Yeah.
Do you live here in Vegas?
No, I am in Oregon.
Oh, Oregon's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Oregon is lovely.
Yeah.
I love Oregon.
I do too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you move there?
I wish I could. Oh my God.
Yeah.
They get a lot of rain there, huh?
Yeah, it depends on what location you're
Yeah.
from. Like, yeah, the southern part is it is not as bad as when you go to the
North
part of the United States.
Yeah. So still beautiful.
Yeah, it's
so
nice.
much greenery.
Yeah.
So much.
I go to Northern California a lot.
Yeah.
Too, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's not too far from Oregon.
Yeah, it is right. I'm in and out of this area a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my daughter lives in Sacramento.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Does she go to school there?
Yes, she
Yeah.
goes to
It's awesome. What does she do for school?
my daughter.
Yeah, in school.
She's she's in 30th grade, so it is not, they're not doing much.
Yeah.
Not like what to say. She goes to a Russian school.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting. We have like Russian schools in this
Yeah.
country, but yeah,
Yeah.
so she goes to an all Russian school, and it's good because it's a charter, and so the education
Yeah.
is a bit better.
Oh, yeah. In charter schools,
Yeah,
much better.
and so it's good.
Yeah, and in charter schools, a lot of the time, once you get to the older grades, they'll have you earn college credits while you're still like in the
Oh,
high school
really?
grades. Yeah. My partner went to a charter school.
Uh-huh.
And he never went to college, but he has 2 college degrees.
Oh, from
being a charter school.
Okay, associate degree. Bachelor's.
Bachelor's.
Really? From
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
An IT technician.
What? Wow.
Yeah, technology.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good business.
Charter schools are awesome. They're amazing.
Yeah.
I only ever went to public school, so they were awful. Awful.
My ex-wife is from Odessa, Ukraine.
Okay,
And,
yeah.
So they came here when they were in their young teenage.
Yeah.
And my ex was taking advanced college classes for the
Right.
math, and the teacher was from Russia, and the teacher was laughing because she said, "Isn't it fun to do elementary math?"
Yeah.
So the math
This
is.
way, yeah.
Oh yeah,
This
sorry.
way. Oh no, you are
Oh.
perfectly okay. Right this way. You're welcome. You guys are joining me over here in this room. You're so welcome. Now you may have noticed that I am out of Virginia.
Yes.
She very did unfortunately get sacrificed to the house. So I'm kidnapping you. My name is Alexa. Yes, I'm your captor. It's very lovely to meet all of you guys. And this room here, you're just in the antechamber for what is known as the world's most haunted object. You guys are just going to watch a video on the TV there. It serves kind of as a warning for the Dybbuk box. So just make sure you're watching it, paying attention. I'll be right back with you guys as soon as the video is over. Don't be alarmed. I'll be back, I swear.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now in the antechamber of an object that is known as the most haunted artifact in the entire world. The Dybbuk box is a Jewish wine cabinet that was also the inspiration for the Sam Raimi film The Possession, and it originates from a 103-year-old Holocaust survivor named Havila. She escaped Nazi-occupied Poland to the safety of Spain. She believed that a demonic spirit had followed her, and with the aid of others, they tried to trap it in a box. But during this process, they believed from that time on that they unleashed all the evil from the mid-20th century. Havila then tried to trap all of the components of evil into 10 Dybbuk boxes representing the Tree of Life. The one that I have is the main #1 box containing the worst, the consciousness of evil. You will also see the number 10 box inside this chamber that looks like a tree root containing the roots of evil. Most of the other boxes are still missing today. Havila's granddaughter said her grandmother demanded to be buried with the Dybbuk box, as she thought it was too dangerous to remain above ground. However, that conflicted with Orthodox Jewish law, so it was sold at her estate sale to a man named Kevin Manis. Shortly afterward, he began having a recurring nightmare of an old hag beating him unmercifully. But he didn't immediately associate the dream with the box, so he gave the box as a gift to his mother, who opened it and immediately suffered a stroke. The box was then sold to Jason Haxton, who is the director of a medical museum in Missouri. He sought to debunk the Dybbuk box, yet he too began to have that same recurring nightmare. Moreover, he experienced nausea, breakouts of hives, and bleeding from his eyes once he had taken custody of this cursed object. Manis told me that a roommate of Jason Haxton, who was living in his basement, was found dead, draped over the Dybbuk box. Jason was told by Orthodox Jewish rabbis to bury the Dybbuk box far below ground, and that's exactly what he did until he sold it to me. One night, my friend Post Malone and I were hanging out here at my haunted museum. It was a very relaxed evening, but it turned ominous when we came into this room. We began feeling something as we heard a little girl's voice in the Dybbuk box chamber. Events began to escalate as I decided to remove the plexiglass case covering the Dybbuk box. And for reasons that are still unclear to me, I felt compelled to touch it. In the moment, Post grabbed my shoulder, and as he did, I felt something shoot through my entire body. It caused me to panic. I began to cry, and I began to hyperventilate. It was truly one of the most terrifying moments in any of my paranormal investigations and my life. As you can see in the video, Post was able to get me out of the room. We then sat in the parking lot. We faced each other for about 30 minutes, at which time he saw a dark cloaked shadowy figure come out of the haunted museum. The following day he sent me a photo of his arm, showing an unexplainable large bruise. After this occurrence, many believe that Post Malone was cursed, as his private plane nearly crashed, he was in a serious car accident, and he was the intended target of an armed home invasion.
I'm friends with Zach Bagans from Ghost Adventures, right? In his museum, so apparently there's a thing called the Dybbuk box, which is one of the most haunted items in the world. So we took the glass case off of the Dybbuk box, which is in his museum in Vegas. And he thought it was a sick-ass idea to put the ashes of a lady who died while she was possessed on top.
Whoa.
And then my plane almost crashed. I was in a car accident. My house got robbed and I had bite marks on my arm. And he hit the wall like I've never seen someone in fear so hard as whenever he touched it.
Only 1 week after this happened, a woman collapsed right in front of the Dybbuk box and had to be taken to the hospital in an ambulance. During a recent filming of a Ghost Adventures special called Quarantine, we captured this absolutely incredible mist appearing to come out of the box, while also manifesting a set of eyes that resemble a fiend from hell. Because of these events, as well as countless guests who have been affected while viewing the Dybbuk box here at the Haunted Museum, entering this chamber is optional. If you do not wish to go inside to view the Dybbuk box, please wait here in this room now, as I ask that the rest of you enter the Dybbuk box chamber.
We let you not put this.
I love my dog. Yes. That's what I live for. Okay. Thanks. I take pride. So in the middle of the room is the Dybbuk box. Now we know about 2 deaths that are directly associated to that box. Before Zach ever had it, it lived inside of an antique shop. And in that shop, there was a man who worked there. And one day, he invited his brother to hang out with him while he was working. And they were both fully aware of the box's history. But they got into a little bit of an argument because the brother who was visiting thought it would just be so funny to mock the box. By mock it, I mean he Nazi stepped around it. He saluted to it like Hitler would. He then knocked it forward, spilling out everything that was on the inside. Then, although both the brothers would try to put everything back into the box the way they found it, but the next morning, the brother who did the stepping was found in his bedroom, hung by his belt. He killed himself, leaving no explanation. And then very shortly after, the brother who helped put everything back then walked off the 5th story of a parking garage, also killing himself without any explanation. Now at this point, you're more than welcome to take some laps around the room. Obviously in the center, that is the number 1 box. To my right over there is the number 10 box. To my left here is an offerings table. So people like to leave little things so they feel more comfortable once they exit. It's not at all necessary, but it is there for you guys in case you wanted it. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to ask. But whenever you're ready, we're going to meet right outside the door that way, and I'll show you our next exhibit.
There's that salt. Is that salt, right?
Yes, salt and sage.
Sage. Okay, that's what I was wondering. Thank you.
Yeah, outside of the video where we're supposed to see a No, so the number 10 box is the little one right here that looks like roof. This bigger box is what that one was initially buried in.
Oh,
So
that was in this.
yes, buried underground. And it's lined in 24 karat gold because it says it contains all the energy inside of it. Yeah.
The book in Hebrew means it clean. It is to clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jewish.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. That means clean because it's definitely dirty inside there. Bunch of evil. Clean. I was gonna say clean.
Like a tabuk is
Yeah.
it means something
Which
that
that
latches
makes
onto you.
that makes
Yeah,
a lot more
yeah,
sense. Yes.
yeah.
Like clean does not sound
No,
right.
like a clinger.
Yeah, like
a
clingy.
crazy
Yes.
girlfriend.
Yes, clingy like a crazy girlfriend. Yes, exactly. I am that. Guilty. You guys are gonna hang out right along the red curtain for me. It's just a
That was a
painting.
little shadow. I was like, look, you're doing
It's just a painting. I'm gonna have you guys hang out right along the red curtain for me. Okay, I'm gonna stand right by this door. Behind this door is our demonically possessed doll, Peggy. She comes to us from England, owned by a woman named Jane Harris. She's a paranormal investigator, so when she got Peggy, she investigated, she recorded, posted those videos online. Not only but an hour after she posted them, she was overflowed with comments of people saying they were affected by Peggy through the screen. People said they experienced nausea, vomiting, headaches, heart palpitations, one woman a heart attack. When Zach heard about that, of course he said, I have to meet her. So we brought Jane and Peggy here to film an episode of his show called Deadly Possessions. When they did arrive, immediately black flies swarmed around Zach's head. Peggy was brought to us with a black bag over her head, the reason for that being Jane believes that all of her power lies behind her eyes. So Zach would take the bag off and look into her eyes, becoming overcome with sensations of frustration and anger. He got so angry that he started to destroy this set, had to be removed off of the property to stop the destruction. Both the black flies that swarmed around his head, being overcome with emotions that are not your own, are both clear signs of demonic manifestation. Since Becky has lived here, she has caused so many nosebleeds that we just stopped counting. So when you guys go in there to meet her, she will not have that black bag over her head anymore. So you guys can look into her eyes, just know that is at your own risk. Like the basement, there is a spirit box in her room, and I encourage you guys to ask her questions. But I am going to ask that as we all enter, please say a hello as a sign of respect. And then as we exit, just say goodbye to sever any ties of communication. But of course, if you don't want to enter, you do not have to, and I do not blame you. If you are going to enter, I'm going to be kind enough to let you know that she is right in the center of the room with her eyes wide open. So if you do not plan on looking into her eyes, just make sure you're looking at the floor as you enter, okay? RIPs, you guys can go around Peggy's gate if you'd like. Say hello as you enter. If you'd like to enter her gate on the right-hand side, just pull it towards you.
This is Peggy.
Peggy, yeah.
Hello, Peggy.
Hello, Peggy. Would any of my RIPs like to go around your gate? Yeah. On the right-hand side, just pull it towards you, okay?
How are you, Peggy? How are you? He wants to kill us. Do you want to hurt us? No. You hate me.
Do you not like them? They're inside of your room right now. Yes. Does that mean you would like us to leave? Alright, Peggy, do you guys have any kind of things you'd like to share before we leave?
Bye.
Good answer, yeah.
You want to go with us?
Peggy, please do not follow us out.
Goodbye, Peggy.
Bye, Peggy.
All right.
No way.
Bye, Peggy.
What did she say?
Did you say goodbye?
It sounded, when we were leaving, it said like she said, go faster. Well, when I'm in there, usually as soon as I open the door, I get greeted with the hey bitch almost every time. Yeah, or what's up, whore.
So that's like the books, the
spirit box.
Spirit box.
Yeah, so what it does is it channels through radio frequencies. It's about 300 per second. So when you hear a word, it means that an energy is pulling that word out of a station specifically to communicate with you.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's what it is. Yeah, so spirit box is when you hear something, it's something manipulating those frequencies to bring a word to you. So, yeah, she always calls me a whore or a bitch. Sometimes a slut, sometimes a cunt. She does not like me. But one time she called me skinny and I was like, hey, you think I'm skinny? But I'll take what I can get, you know? But anyways, our next exhibit's behind these two doors. It is one exhibit, 2 doors behind these. We are going to come face to face with a real human severed head. And this head belonged to a Swedish man. Yeah, I saw those reactions. Yeah, seriously. But the head belonged to a Swedish man executed in the mid-1800s in Scotland for performing witchcraft. And when he was executed, they buried his body, but because of the witchcraft he practiced, they thought that his body was cursing their ground. So their solution was to exhume his body, sever his head, burn the rest of him. Now, his head was then passed to the hands of many scientists, businessmen, and eventually in the hands of the man who would give it to Zach. But he gave it to Zach under one very strong circumstance. That being, once he gave it to Zach, he would never have to see it again. And Zach agreed. He didn't really understand why, but he took the head. As he was setting this exhibit up, he then understood because he was shoved against the wall by a dark and unseen force. Now, there are 2 artifacts in this museum Zach does not go near. This is the first one. He does not go in or near this room at all, which speaks volumes. The second artifact, I'll tell you all about it once we get there. But for the same reasons he doesn't go into this room, we do believe that the spirit of this man is intelligent and also malevolent. So as we walk through, I'm going to ask us all to remain as respectful as possible. And we do intend for this to be the man's final resting place, and I do not want us to disturb his peace. So to do that, as we walk through, just please remain completely silent. But it's like the last couple of rooms. If you don't want to enter, you do not have to, and I really do not blame you for this one, as this is in fact my least favorite room. But as we're walking through, we're going to enter through that door, we're going to exit out through this one. It's shaped like a U, and his head is along this wall here. So you're more than welcome to stop and stare, or you could just do what I do and run through and not even look at him. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that either. All the way through, completely silent. Right? I'm sleeping in that room.
The room was heavy, huh?
Yeah.
Right? Like the best way I can explain it, he just feels angry. Like he does not want us in there. You know, and I don't blame him, because if my head got severed and I was put in a museum, I wouldn't really want to be there either. So.
Hey, you say a bunch of people keep his head as an item. Why?
Just because, I mean, for scientific purposes, a bunch of like scientists had them, and then at one point businessmen had them, and I'm not sure why or like what business they were into, but we just know that they were businessmen who kept his head, and eventually one of the businessmen passed away, and then his son inherited it, and that is who Zach got it from.
And he got it for free, he did not have to pay
It was donated to Zach, because that man did not want the head. He did not want it, so it was donated to Zach. Yeah, of course he took it. I mean, naturally, come on now.
You gotta have a human head.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
right? I don't know why you even kept it. I would have been like, okay, throw it away. You know, like put it in somewhere. Yeah, seriously, like I don't know why you would just be like, here's a head. No, very nice shoe. Oh, I want to say congratulations, and I'm very proud of you guys because you just officially survived the upstairs. Yay! That's right. There's still a downstairs. Yay! We're gonna make a pit stop on the stairs as well. I have two things to show you guys. My first couple can hang out on the stairs with me or on the landing with me. If you guys would just hang out on the stairs, that's perfect. But follow me right this way. Everybody else just on the stairs. However you want to do it. So as I said, I have two things to talk about, and I'm going to start with what's behind me here. This is Bela Lugosi's Haunted Mirror, and Bela Lugosi is known for his original role as Dracula in the 1931 film. Now you guys can't find a photo of him smiling down at us, it's very sweet, but he was also a rumored occultist, often known to partake in something called scrying. Now that is the act of looking into any reflective surface with the intention of trying to communicate with the dead. So Lugosi hung this inside of his bedroom, he always scried into it. Now eventually he moved out of his home and he left this mirror there. A lawyer by the name of Frank Selettri moved in, therefore inheriting this mirror, now hung inside of his bedroom where he would be very brutally murdered. Now his murder was done so where they took a screwdriver. They dug it first into the crevices of his elbows, into the backs of his knees, then shot twice in the back of the head, then using the screwdriver to dig the bullets out of his head, leaving that murder still unsolved to this day, which makes this mirror the only witness. Yes, so when he passed, his belongings would have to go to somebody, and that somebody was his niece. Now when his niece got this mirror, she then made the super smart decision of hanging it inside of her daughter's bedroom. After doing that, the little girl said as she tried to go to sleep, dark figures crawled out of this mirror trying to attack and strangle her, often waking up with bruises, bite marks, scratches, even having to seek mental help. So obviously the family didn't really want the mirror anymore, and that is how Zach would get it. He got it just in time for a Halloween special episode of Ghost Adventures. He invited Father Sebastian here. Now he is the self-proclaimed king of vampires. So when he was here, Zach asked him to scry into the mirror, just as Lugosi once did. He did it and he was successful, but he provoked whatever he saw. It consumed him and then he fell unconscious. He hit his head very hard. Later on, when he regained his consciousness, not only was his cameraman, but also his girlfriend, they were covered in scratches with no explanation. Now in a couple of minutes, I'm going to bring you guys down the stairs with me, giving you the opportunity to scry into the mirror. But just like everything else, I do want you to know that is at your own risk, because on many occasions, guests have told me that they've seen weird activity occur inside the mirror. So if you don't want to look into it on the way down, just make sure you're looking at the floor and holding on to the railings, because I can pinky promise that neither of those are cursed. But there's still one more thing to talk about while we're here. We're going to watch a video on the screen here in just a second. It's not the little girl. I literally don't know how they got that picture of my little sister. But anyways, this video takes place back on July 16th. On that night, Zach was in California checking surveillance cameras from his phone before he went to bed. He clicked on the ballroom camera, it's that room right down there. From 1:05 to 1:15 a.m., he heard a multitude of strange, disturbing sounds. As you guys watch the video, in the very beginning, you can hear an unknown woman say the name David. Now that name is going to mean something in the next room we go to. That next room is also where Zach believes all these sounds are coming from. Now after the name, there is loud banging, strong wind hitting the microphone, and very loud growling. Immediately, Zach tried to explain it, saying, "Oh, it's just our cleaning crew doing a graveyard shift." He was wrong, because they only clean during the daytime. He checked alarm systems were activated 2 hours before these sounds occurred. They were not deactivated until the next morning at 8:30, just letting us know that the sounds were coming from the museum after hours when it was completely empty. But for even further confirmation, he had the president of the company who installed our entire surveillance system to come and inspect the cameras, the microphone, and the DVR system itself. And they told us that nothing was broken and nothing had malfunctioned. Just really solidifying that these were in fact coming from the museum, as not a single person was inside. I'm going to play the footage now. I will warn you, it's pretty loud. So if you want to shove your cute little fingers inside your ears, I do not blame you. I'm also going to point out the name David because it's just a little bit hard.
Is it okay if I see?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
going to the room we think the notes came from. Yes! Don't forget that on the way down the stairs you can look into the mirror. You're just going to meet me at the bottom of the steps. How about you guys? Anything scary? Just yourselves, too? Terrifying. Scary thing in the place, right in here. Alright, I have 2 questions before I let you guys into that next room.
Oh, no.
The first question I have for you guys is, have any of you guys seen the Conjuring films? Conjuring movies, are we fans?
No.
Adam Lorraine Warren. Okay, good. Now, the item in this exhibit is what inspired the 3rd Conjuring film called The Devil Made Me Do It. And this room is the Devil's Rocking Chair. Now, you guys are going to hopefully in here. Yeah, it all looks very tender. Don't blame you. On the video we watched on the stairs, I pointed out the name David for you guys. I just want you guys to keep that name in mind as you watch the video on the little TV at the front of the room. Again, I'll be back right when the video is over. Don't go on.
You are now inside an exhibit that contains my most diabolical artifact. This is also an extremely active room. In 1980, 11-year-old David Glatzel, pictured on the right, was undergoing a series of demonic possessions. They enlisted the help of famed paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren to assist with the exorcisms that would later go on to serve as the inspiration for the upcoming film Conjuring 3. When David would become possessed, both he and Lorraine would physically see what he called the Beast, sitting in the family's rocking chair that would also levitate with the boy sitting in it. The religious statues in front of you and the rosaries in the case to the left by the wall were given to the Glatzel family from Ed and Lorraine Warren during the exorcisms to help fight the Beast. Arnie Johnson, also in the photo on the left, was the boyfriend of David's older sister, and he would attempt to provoke the demon to leave David and enter him. He may have succeeded because shortly afterwards he committed a murder when he stabbed his landlord to death. It became the first time in American history that demonic possession was used as a defense in a murder trial. Here is Ed Warren recounting his experience with the Devil's Rocking Chair.
And he told us that what they called the Beast, which was seen many times in the house and out in the grounds, was back at the house. I went back there, and I had taken holy water with me, while the priest stayed in the convent. I then went through the house, and I used what we call religious provocation. I sprinkled the holy water, and there was a rocking chair there. This rocking chair suddenly started to move back violently, back and forth. There were loud pounding sounds in the house, and then what I could hear is growling down in the cellar. Now these were some of the sounds that we heard the very first night that we went there with Dr. Giangrasso, but it sounded like somebody had a 2x4 and was hitting the floor underneath us, but nobody was there.
I bought the Devil's Rocking Chair directly from the Glatzel family, and only a few hours later, Lorraine Warren died that same day. The family also gave me a notarized letter on the wall to the right stating that this chair is cursed, and anyone who sits in it will be stricken with severe back pain. One of their friends did this on a dare and had to have back surgery and still has problems walking today. I opened this exhibit on Memorial Day 2019, but I closed it almost immediately after multiple tour guides began to cry uncontrollably. At the same time, a guest standing at the top of the stairs, directly above where the chair is sitting now, fell unconscious with no memory of where she was or how she had gotten here. During a Ghost Adventures investigation, I captured a small figure appear by the TV, then again appearing to climb on the chair, along with some unexplained electromagnetic spikes and an unexplained cold air mass that was detected on a thermal sensor. You are now about to hear actual audio from one of David Glatzel's exorcisms that is harrowing and very disturbing.
David, wake up, get up. Use the Holy Water. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. You can't sit him up until you have the orders. I'm doing it! Stop it! Just get up! My God, get up! Get off my house! Get up! Get out of my shop!
Guys, don't be scared. It's not a demon. It's literally just me, your little guardian angel. Well, alright, Keys, you guys are more than welcome to go around the little gate there, get a better look at the rocking chair. I just want you to be aware that that rug is not bolted down. You can't step on it. Just be careful, because I've seen people trip and I did laugh, so just be careful. Be extra cautious because there is no more glass in front of the chair. So if you do trip, you won't only be embarrassed, but also cursed forever. So just be very careful. There are a couple other things to look at in the room. I'm going to start in the back right corner, that curio cabinet. The gold latch you see on the front center, it swings from the left to the right. If you swing it on the inside, it'll be lit up. You can see the original cassette tape that Lorraine Warren recorded the exorcism audio you just heard on. Originally, there is 29 minutes and 33 seconds worth of that terrifying audio. I also am going to point out the demon in the room. Yes, I mean that literal demon in the room. Yeah, calm down, I'm not talking about me. Now, this was actually supposed to be the protagonist of the Conjuring 2 movie. But the reason you don't recognize him is because while the woman who plays Lorraine Warren, her real name is Beth Farmiga, she said that while she would shoot scenes with this prop specifically, she would leave to go home, have terrible nightmares about him, waking up with scratch marks on her thighs every time. Now, it didn't just make her uncomfortable. Several other actors and actresses on set, that in the end, the director James Wan decided to just scrap that character completely, replace him with Valak the Nun. He thought she was a little less threatening, but just as terrifying. I think he was right. Now, whenever you guys are done looking at everything I just talked about, or if your back's just hurt enough, you're going to meet me outside in the hall this way.
Make sure it's below the fire.
Do you guys have any questions about anything in this room? Awesome. If I'm a good tour guide, just say so. All right.
Thank you guys so much for coming. Enjoy the rest of your stay here.
So we're gonna go down some of these stanchions here. You can go all the way down, or just to wherever you see the lines are. I also will tell you guys that I have good news and bad news. So what do you want to hear first?
Bad news.
Okay, the bad news is you guys only have 3 rooms left. And then the good news is you guys only have 3 rooms left. I know. Before those 3 rooms over that way, I'm going to talk to you guys about everything behind me here. And you're going to get a better look at it on your way to your exit, which is that red door. But all these things are first. And I'm going to start right here in the middle. This is Lily. She comes to us from 1800s Germany, and that is real human hair on her head. But she was found in the false bottom of a steamer truck by an antique dealer. When he found her, he immediately liked her, so we took her home and placed her in his personal collection. But then he started to have very vivid, reoccurring nightmares of a little girl being tortured, murdered, and dismembered. He would attribute those nightmares to Lily, then placing her inside of an antique shop in Salem, Oregon. When she was living there, a mother and her daughter made their way into that shop, and the little girl would make a beeline straight for Lily. As the mother shopped around for 3 hours, the little girl sat down with the doll, having a conversation with her. So the mother asked, "What could you be talking to a doll about for 3 hours?" And the little girl would say, "I'm not talking to a doll. I'm talking to a little girl named Lily who told me how she died." She then would say the very same details of the antique dealer's nightmares perfectly. They contacted Zach, and of course, once again, he said I have to meet her. So he would go straight to Salem, Oregon, where she was staying. And when he got there, he asked that shopkeeper to take Lily down for him. So she took her down off the top shelf, placing her on the counter. Then she started wringing her hands together, and she just kept repeating, "I need to wash my hands. I need to wash my hands. I need to wash my hands." Doubling over in severe abdominal pain. All that happened right in front of Zach's face, and I bet you can guess what he said. "I'll take her." And she's lived here ever since. Now, since living here, she still has caused some strange activity. Some of that is captured on camera, and you guys will find it on this little monitor to your left of Lily. Again, you'll see it better on your way out, but on that monitor, it's footage of a group getting a tour just like you guys are, but more specifically, there's actually a man sitting right where you are. I am very, very sorry. He's looking right into Lily's eyes, or lack thereof. He actually became consumed. He fell forward. He took all the stanchions down.